Activating goodnight sequence. Dispersing appropriate dosage of compound 347. Initiating phase 1 of memory calibration. This won't hurt a bit. Just close your eyes.
Perfect. Hey guys, all right, let me flip over here. Let me get everything going on the way that it's supposed to go. Because once again, of course, do you think Krim is ever ready for her own show? She isn't. She's never ready for her own show. Ron's like, hi Krim, I'm your number one fan. Well, thank God, because honestly, I don't think anybody else would show up any other time. Should we call it today? Should we call it a day? Can I go, oh, hey, Crystal, good to see you. So yeah, barely made it to my own show on time because that's just the norm now. It's a beautiful, drizzly, miserable, rainy day over here in Vancouver. Please don't tag everyone. So today's show was supposed to originally be a whole community thing because of course Hive has been doing a bunch of community. Ugh, look at me, I'm a fucking greaseball today. Yuck. Just listen, don't look. Listen with your ears and your heart, but don't look with your eyes. I barely got notifications out. Take what you will. But yeah, so today was supposed to be because Hive has been doing random acts of kindness and a community week. Guilty Parties and some of the other organizers wanted me to do a draw for the results of a game live on air to give away some crypto. And unfortunately, the people did not get their usernames in time. So we're not doing that. So I have no idea why I'm here doing a show. And honestly, these days, I'm kind of just ready to give up, to be quite honest. Why are we here? Why are we doing this show? No one cares. No one wants to listen to music and no one wants to hang out. We're in that kind of mood today. Why? I could go sit downstairs and drink a cup of coffee with my dogs and listen to the rain fall and the fire crackle, and it'd be great. But some of you guys are going to show up, and we will try and put together some half-ass show today, and we'll have some fun. Who date? No, I'm not giving up. Don't worry, I'm teasing. Well, no, I'm not really teasing, but I'm partially teasing you guys. I'm here. The show has started. and it must go on. And we will make it happen. So no worries. Today is CyberBuzz Radio. And so normally I talk about like digital disruptive technology. I talk about blockchain, and often the Hive blockchain, VR, AR, gaming, things like that. But it's just, of course, this time of year, I mentioned it on Half Force Radio this week. So if you were here earlier, if you're wondering why I'm just like, in full Reagan mode, it's because tax time is a really stressful time of year for me, because it basically means all of the work at my job explodes to like 10 million times more work. There's a lot going on, usually around the crypto space. And so often by the time I get home, the idea of putting together a show honestly kills me. It's not that I don't want to do this stuff with you guys. It's just my regular mood right now is just like, oh God, because I work, at 10 or more hour days, which is not that much, but I normally work like 7-hour days. That's my usual space. So, that is an extension of like 15 plus extra hours. And then I work at home, and then I do separate stuff for the community and for the blockchain. So sometimes at this time of year, honestly, I'm just an intolerable bitch, and you get used to it or you don't, but no big deal. So today, I do have some good music. The original plans for the Hive blockchain stuff, not happening. Those are not happening. I think we're going to be doing those next week. So all of my sort of planned topics around that, and doing some of the stuff that needed to be done for that, out the window. So I don't theoretically have a show anymore. Do you want me to come on air? No, Ron, you know what? I gave you that offer last week and you pieced out and you fake newsed, and I had to put you in the sleeping room. So no, thank you, sir. I'll definitely find something to talk about. But, and I have pulled some music for you guys. So yeah, like today is probably going to be more of a chill chat day, because you know what, here, like I said, I get up in the morning and I walk. I was too boring. I know, I'm used to it. Yeah. I mean, literally patient zero even left last week. I think I've driven away all of my listeners. Houday is in here giving me mad love and pumping me back up when literally everything else is just crushing my spirit brutally. And it's funny. Like, I talked about this a little bit on Thursday, which is, I think, why people were leaving the stream. But it's hard to explain after doing this for years, whether or not, it's the live radio aspect or the streaming aspect. It's just sometimes it is so hard to kind of get here in front of the microphone and be a human. I can't explain it to you. Like, some days you're not in the headspace for it. And, the one thing I've learned is, of course, if I just give into that, if I just fall prey to, no, I'm tired and I'm sad, or I'm tired and I'm grumpy or whatever, it's not good for the future of the show. And it's not great for the like connections in the community that I have with listeners and with people who just want to be entertained. So there's this pressure to always be on and to be maybe not happy, but entertaining. And some days, man, I know that I'm not up for it and it sucks. But you guys haven't seen a breakdown on air in ages, because I am sleeping more. Ron is saying he's running on 4 hours of sleep. Ron is the new Krim. Don't do it. I don't recommend it, bro. Don't go down that slippery slope where this stuff takes over your life and you have, hi Groff, you have nothing but no sleep and people DMing you from morning till night, and then you realize you got to get up and write more code and pull more numbers and generate more reports and oof da. So with that being said, hey Carson, good to see you. I will do the absolute best I can to be perky and enjoyable and entertaining today. I have music, so we can always lean on music, but we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, because, the original plans were scrapped as of like 15 minutes ago. Oh, what else is new? So Lam is asking about how restrictions are in BC, and I know this is going to come up today because, of course, Canada, right? I live in Canada. I live on the West Coast, and Canada right now, everybody's watching. The world is watching. There's a lot going on, and I will say, yesterday my heart hurt a lot. So to avoid a breakdown on air, I don't think we'll talk about that stuff. It's hard to watch what's happening in Canada right now as a Canadian. And I know you guys have seen this before, and I'll try and keep it brief, but it's really, really hard. And it's funny, it's not just the live coverage. It's not what's just happening on the other side of the country or whatever. I'll tell you, as a Canadian, and I'm sure some of you guys will have seen this in your own life with COVID or with whatever's going on. Relationships are so broken, and I'm really lucky in my life there's not too much of that. But man, it's hard watching people around me having their personal relationships explode. I think we're all going through this right now, right? It's one of the sort of best and worst parts of this digital future that we're living in, right? Even when we're apart, we're connected. And over the last couple years that we've been talking about COVID and living COVID bullshit together, at first it was, well, we're stuck at home, but we can be online and we can communicate, or we can use blockchain, or we can use social media, or we can use streaming to stay connected and to have that personality and these sort of touches of humanity that we need. But now, unfortunately, it's made it easier for people to take sides and treat each other really shitty. And it's really, really noticeable. For me, at least, here in Canada. And of course, I can't speak for all Canadians, but I think it's happening everywhere. I think it's not just Canada. I think we're just kind of on the cusp of it, It's so easy for people to just be like, if you support a trucker, you're a piece of shit and I'm cutting you out of my life. Or the opposite. If you don't support the truckers, you're a sheep and, you're disgusting and I'm cutting you out of my life. And it's already been tough, but I feel like yesterday, especially with all the horrible stuff that was happening at these protests, it's coming to a head. And people who have been reasonable, or people who have tried to sort of retain good relationships and good friendships and, have their feelings and respect other people's feelings. I have noticed here, even, at least in Vancouver, we're so far geographically away from Ottawa. I have noticed the whole mood has shifted. People, the way they treat themselves and each other, interacting out and about, it's very us versus them. What was originally a lot of pride in the fact that whether or not you supported the truckers, we live in a Canada where you can protest without, going to the gulag or being frog marched off into oblivion, or, we can have protesters who aren't lighting cities on fire. And there was a pride there. There was a pride in this unity and this movement. And yeah, yesterday, as of the horses and the towing and the beatings and the gassings and everything that's happening, there is this incredible split of people saying, well, fine, but you've been there for 3 weeks. That's freedom. Fuck you. And of course, then the other side who are like, that's what a protest is. That's the literal definition of a protest. And, no buildings have been destroyed. No, literally zero property damage has been done. No one's been hurt. Like, overall, these are some of the most ridiculously peaceful and successful protests of all time. And everyone is sore about it. Everyone has an opinion about it. And it's starting to come out in the wrong ways. In the way that people are treating each other here. I've noticed. Maybe you guys have different experiences, and I'd love to hear them. But I've noticed that was it. Yesterday was sort of this strong dividing line that broke a lot of people. And just watching, part of it is something that, I knew would happen, but I live in a smaller suburb off of Vancouver. Everyone's nice here. You know, everybody talks, everybody says hi. It's very like, you know, when people talk about small town America and the dream, it happens in Canada too. Small town happens wherever small towns are, weirdly enough. But I've always found us to be so polite and, you know, so kind. And most people just, that kind of thing doesn't impact the way that they interact with each other. But yesterday, there's tension between people. People, you know, you can tell nobody wants to talk about it, but you turn around and there's, you know, CBC covering complete distortions of what's happening back east and whatnot. And it's just, everybody's sad and there's a lot of tension and it's hard. So on top of everything else, you know, it's hard today to come here and be like, yay, you know, I don't know. I can't explain it. I never want to see relationships, whether they're digital or tangible, strained by something that it's totally okay to disagree on. So to see the way it's being expressed, especially in the past couple days, it's hard. And it's funny because it's not even happening in my life. Like, I wish I could tell you, I'm going to sit here and cry because I've lost so many friends. I haven't. I'm fine. But it is, I don't know how to explain it to you guys. And like I say, you know, Lamson, he's noticed it as well. It's, we always strive for tribalism, even when we say we don't, right? We identify with an idea, with a sort of guiding principle, and it's we've kind of lost the plot on it's okay to have that, and then also additional context. But yeah, so not to make you guys uncomfortable, but it is, my heart hurts. And I think if we talk about it a lot, I'll be emotional, because it's just, it's not the community that I recognize everywhere, you know? And it is really hard to see people I love struggling with people they love a lot. It's really hard to see that. You guys know I'm a kindness costs nothing kind of girl. It's not hard to just want to be kind to other people, even if you don't agree with them. It's actually not that hard. It's more work to be angry. It's more work to hate. It's hard. It's hard to hate. You have to be really committed to it. Incredibly committed to it. And that's, it's not for me. And it's sad to see how many people are. That's the place that they want to put maybe they feel they must put their effort now. So, yeah. If we talk about it, I'm going to cry. So maybe we don't. I don't know. As for restrictions, BC is very, BC's very holier than thou. So in a lot of cases, BC actually didn't have many restrictions. BC didn't have many restrictions through most of the pandemic. Like we were the last to bring them in. They were a lot weaker than the rest of Canada. You know, we kind of lived in this bubble over here where we were like, well, that's fine. We're all nice people. We'll just wear masks. And, you know, if that's the bottom line, we'll just do it. And now I believe that the government here is so fucking out of touch. So all of the restrictions in terms of like going places are lifted. There's no capacity restrictions, you know, weddings, funerals, all that shit. It's all allowed. Sporting tournaments, gyms are open. All the stuff that like really drove people nuts for a long time there, and we're basically, for a lot of the rest of Canada, we're just shut down. Like, especially when you look at back east in Quebec and Ontario, no gyms, no bars, no nightclubs, no restaurants, curfew, certain days you can go to the store, right? Like, it got real back east for sure. And then, so here's Canada, you know, already not quite as bad, I guess, but Western Canada, certainly we didn't have that. So, you know, BC has lifted absolutely everything but masks and like, I don't know. It's interesting. They've got no restrictions, but they still have a couple of restrictions. And even though all the other provinces have picked dates, BC's like, we'll take it day by day because, we don't do things like other provinces. And it's almost, you can see it in some ways, a lot of the policy making right now in BC, very specifically, is because they just don't want to be like Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba all lifted their... BC is just going to do their own thing, and they want to be seen as doing their own thing. They don't want to be as harsh and evil as back east, and they don't want to be as laissez-faire as crazy Alberta, just knocking them off overnight. It's fucking ridiculous. None of these people are going to get re-elected. What can I say? But it's a very BC attitude, and a lot of people here are probably pretty okay with it. It's BC. I love it so much, but it's full of, I don't know, people who care about the world and have limited avenues to express that. People who are very concerned about the environment, people who are very concerned about society, but aren't given a lot of places or ways to do anything about it. So then they virtue signal a lot just because there's really nothing else to do. Which is, of course, dumb. There's always something you can do. And this could even lead into a great chat for today because you guys know I'm hugely into self-sovereignty. And one of the most important things about self-sovereignty is distancing yourself from, obviously, government, distancing yourself from traditional economic structures, financial institutions. But I believe incredibly strongly that as your level of self-sovereignty increases, so too does your social responsibility, because no longer is the government forcing you to pay a portion of taxes, or, no longer are you forced by the existing system to contribute to social good. Well, the reality is the more self-sovereign you are, the more effort you actively have to put into supporting the community around you to make your own life better, right? The more self-sovereign people collect in a place, or the more people that work towards goals of self-sovereignty, whether that's with their food or their housing or their entire lives, their communication, their assets, their money, their legal system, whatever, the more self-sovereign you are, the more actual solid thought you have to put into people around you and your interaction with them. You don't have the government just taking a portion of your taxes and putting it into, social programs. And I believe incredibly strongly in social programs. The communities are built by supporting the weak links that do need some help. But at the same time, handouts just for the sake of handouts, so the government can say, look, we're doing our part in a very dystopian Starship Troopers kind of way, doesn't help, right? So it's an interesting topic to get into because I believe that very strongly. And I suspect there are many people who are self-sovereign who would disagree with me entirely and who would say that social responsibility is specifically not a part of being self-sovereign and fuck everybody else. Fuck you, got mine, which is fair, but that's not my take on it. Okay, so chat, ever since I started crying, chat kind of really dampened down a little bit, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't mind sharing this kind of thing with you guys. Like I said, I mean, some days it's hard to come on air when I am tired or I need a break or, the world is insane. But I'm never ashamed if you guys see me. If it's really bad, I'll end the stream. You see the best of me and the worst of me, and that's the same thing for people who listen to the show. Just listen. You often hear things that I guarantee you someday somebody will take out of context, and I will, be soundly castigated and likely canceled for, and that's okay, because I say them and I mean them. So it is what it is. Yes, there's no government with Elon in space. Elon wants to be space daddy, and I love the idea of us going to space. I love the idea of us, pursuing something better and bigger. And, I think Elon's got the right of it in some ways, and in some other ways, I'm just like, man, Elon is not at all emotionally in touch with any part of his life, and I would definitely not want him running mine. Oh, lordy. Okay, so yada yada yada, something. hate is hard to watch, and we should actively kind of try to cleanse a bit of that hate from our lives. So, as horrible as that was, Space Daddy. Yeah, no, it's funny because, okay, Daddy is a topic that we'll talk about, and then I'll put a song on. I never called my dad Daddy. Maybe I did as a really little kid, but not in any sort of conscious timeline do I remember calling my dad Daddy. And even now, like, my cutesy way of talking to him when I was growing up, and now is I call him Dadders. And actually my mom too, mummers and dadders. I don't know, like dadders. Daddo or dadders. I don't know why. That's what he's been. And so every time I've ever heard daddy, it is disgustingly sexual. Like, that's the only sort of connotation for it. But there's a new connotation that's kind of come up in my life, and that is the greasy, uncomfortable aspect of that sexuality. So rather than just being like, ooh, daddy, you know, that, it's now become sort of like pimp-esque. And so often I refer to Trudeau as Daddy Truebucks instead of Daddy Warbucks. And I've just noticed I've started the, not authority figures, but we'll call them authority figures for lack of a better term. The authority figures in sort of the traditional government structure and financial structure and rich people, I often give them the title of daddy because there is an uncomfortable power dynamic there that I think is distasteful. So often, like, you know, when it's like, take me to space, Elon, space daddy, ooh woo, it's not actually admiring. I don't know. It's weird. I suspect today will be sort of one of these really weird, cyclical, philosophical days where things spiral out of control wildly, but that's okay. It's fine. When I put this first song on too, I'll actually attempt to put some makeup on my face. I had mascara yesterday, and you can see I slept on it. And that is exactly how much makeup I'm wearing. You guys get one eye's worth of smudged mascara. That's how much I fucking love you. You know? Someday, when I get back to having enough time, I will start putting on full face again, and you'll all be blown away by my augmented beauty. But today is not that day. All right. So yeah, you know, it's true. Governments are freaking out right now because there is absolutely controls is slipping. And it is interesting because obviously all of our goals should be to remind government that, like, you work for us. But anytime government gets too entrenched, they forget that little detail, and that's the part of the cycle that we're at. You know, I mean, I offer this now, however you may be feeling about everything that's going on. I'm not here to tell you how you should feel. But a gentle reminder, you know, we were having a discussion the other day, and one of my friends just asked, so what do we do? Do we just sit and watch the world crumble? And it's like, it's not hopeless, but it is cyclical. You know, we kind of forget that not that long ago, our grandparents were doing exactly this, worried about food supplies and the supply chain, you know, trying to get all their money in cash, hiding things in boxes under the bed, you know, desperately worried for the future of their children and their grandchildren, and concerned about government, and concerned about just getting by, and concerned about, you know, the political and social culture of the world around them. I mean, things will come of this, and then there will be good times again, and then soon enough we'll be right back here. Cyclical, not hopeless, but it does mean that we've got some work to do. All right, so good. Did we talk enough politics, or are we just going to get stuck in this shitty topic today? I know. It's of interest to everybody, but we'll see. So I did promise you guys we would play some music, and I will play some music. I will make a fucking attempt. I'm going to play a quick track called Find Me. It's Luke Hash, and he's got a lovely lady named Chimera singing on this track. It is fairly new. The track is called Find Me. We'll play this, we'll come back, and then we can talk a little bit about either some of the stuff going on around the blockchain, or we can talk about video games, because I know Cyberpunk just got a big update, and is finally starting to feel like a real game, which is cool. That's exciting, because I know a lot of people, myself included, really had high hopes for Cyberpunk, and boy, oh boy, did it crush our souls. Hey, Marco, it's so good to see you. Look at this. I've lured in like 2 or 3 people extra today. God. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to whatever. And I will say, I'll share with you guys one of the videos that has been, that I play downstairs when I need some background noise and ambiance. I'll share it with you guys. It will not be surprising, but I'll pretend it's a surprise. So let's do this. Let's play a track called Find Me. My name is Crimson Cloud. Yeah, this is CyberBuzz Radio, and if you stopped in, because I do see there are people across a couple different platforms, because we are, of course, everywhere. We're here on MSP Waves, the Hive Power social broadcasting network, but we are also live on Theta, Trovo, Vim TV. We are live on Twitch and on YouTube. So there are people all over the place listening and watching. You know, I say, oh, there's not that many people, but yeah, you're there and I see you. And I actually see people jumping in and out. So if you're here and you've already seen some crying, buckle up, Buttercup. This is the world we're in. And Crimson Cloud is fucking tired because it's tax time. Don't play music. It sounds bad on my phone. My friend, I'm so very sorry. Oh, right. We got to do this. Wait. There you go.
Hard to love and hard to lose. Beggars begin to choose. Fall behind and fall below. The choice is yours to lose. 'Cause if you wanna fight, if you don't wanna get fucked, don't wanna let another possibility slip up. You see a little diamond in the mud you could pick up. Show up, this could be your time. Ooh. If you can't find me without the light, feel your way here. And nothing but afterglow, no wondering where to go. Just see me for who I am. If you can find me, hours change, never the same.
right, there you go. So I quickly stepped off camera, slightly fixed this eyeball, but mostly I got some Windex and cleaned my glasses. Because, one thing that I don't necessarily always recognize until I'm live on air and I'm kind of like staring into a camera with a fucking glaring light on my face, how disgusting these are. I mean, I just cleaned them and you could still see, like, am I that greasy? I'm disgusting. Oh my gosh. Hi. Okay, I don't know how to say your name. Dickina? I don't want to call you Dickina, but that's kind of how I read that. Like Machina, but not. China? China. Hi, either way, I'm happy to have you. Hey, Julia. Hey, everybody who's wandering in. We're just, what were we talking about today? I've already had kind of sort of a little baby meltdown because people have been asking me about Canada stuff that kind of just spiraled. And I'm at that time of year where this always happens because there's always something going on. Thanks, Carson. So yeah, I mean, libertarian is one thing. I believe in balance and being rounded. And I think that's one of the biggest things is that personal self-sovereignty. Thanks! Thank you for following. Come back in today. Yeah, you've been packing all afternoon. I know, Julia. Things are going to be an absolute shit show for you. I am hoping that your drive goes well, what with everything that's happening around. And I also heard today that over in Quebec, out your way, that there's going to be a snow squall and zero visibility. And people ask me why I live on the West Coast. That is why. Okay. So yeah, we were talking a little bit and, I had my beginning kind of meltdown because I'm tired. I'm really tired. And it is that time of year where, I'm chained to my desk, pulling, writing scripts to pull information from databases and format them certain ways and printing out documents and, helping my coworkers take them and send them out into the world. And it's like, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. But this time of year is exhausting. It's absolutely fucking exhausting. Oh, that's quite the ad. Hey, Marco. And, I bet a lot of people, those ads that were originally pretty viable are probably feeling the greatest. But, actually, I've seen quite a few ads myself. Yours is obviously well targeted. Moved from Serbia to Canada. But, of course, I've been seeing some that I thought, boy, oh boy, here is a perfect example of not necessarily the best use of spending and also a great indicator of how the government is feeling right now. I have been seeing, so I'll put this out there because the caveat is I don't use Facebook as a personal media. You talk so fast and very incendiary. Great. Yes. Well, so here's the deal. I don't use Facebook for social media, but I do keep a Facebook account because I find Facebook Marketplace is very effective. And so often when I want to get things out of my home, I despair throwing things in the trash that don't need to be thrown in the trash. But there are often a lot of items that just can't be recycled nicely. And so when that happens, I think, okay, I was going to throw this in the garbage. Somebody out there might want it. I will price it as low as I possibly can. And what I will think, the way that I think of this is I am going to get somebody to pay me to take away my trash, but the trash doesn't go to the landfill. So I find Facebook Marketplace very useful for that. But what that means is then when I'm checking, listings where I'm selling, stuff as I clean and declutter and whatnot, they do put ads into the Facebook Marketplace. So even if you're searching, I'm going to sell this old Klipsch sub that I have. I love it. It was fantastic. It's this awesome antique sound system piece, but I don't need it anymore. And it's not worth just sending to electronics recycling. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. Put it on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody will appreciate it and they will come get it and I won't have to deal with it. Perfect. But so as I'm, searching, like, what are other people selling this for? What's the right place to kind of price this? How can I make a bit of profit, but, somebody gets a good deal? So I'm searching, and of course, Facebook Marketplace puts ads in there. Of course they do. And I saw one the other day that actually, I'm really good at mentally filtering them out. And it's not worth an extension because I don't look at Facebook. I noticed an ad for the government body in Canada that insures the banks. And I thought, holy shit, they're spending money on an ad. And the ad, I don't remember what the ad was actually like. So that goes to tell you how effective it was. But the reason that I bring it up is because, boy, isn't that interesting. The Canadian government perceives, and this was actually before they froze the trucker stuff, the Canadian government perceives the Canadian people, their attitude and comfort level with banks holding money is so poor that they literally spent extra money to put this ad out reminding you that all money held in Canadian banks is insured by this company. And someone commented on it and said, why the fuck? Why is this an ad? And the response was, well, the government has found that people's confidence in banks go up when they realized that their assets are insured. And I'm like, whoa, you literally just admitted that you needed to put this shit out there because people's confidence is so low in the banks. Yikes. Yikes. Wow. That's a fucking topic for you. The things that you learn through Facebook ads. My goodness gracious me. Yikes. All right. So, yeah, many shit shows. Shit shows everywhere in the world. But that's the thing, man. You know, people wonder why crypto hasn't died yet. How many times has Bitcoin died? Is there that site that's counting? Bitcoin's died 600 plus times now or something like that? I don't know. Whatever. What is dead may live again. So yeah, and somebody, who was that? Mariana was asking about my knee. It's okay. You'll notice I'm standing today. Whenever I mess it up like that, which is thankfully not too often, it just stretching, sleeping, not moving, not going hiking. Don't be a dick to your knee. That's the only way it gets better. There is just no ligaments in that knee. So sometimes if I move the wrong way, bones that should be held together or cushioned by ligaments just don't. They're just not. They just aren't. So sometimes, you know, what does your knee look like? I don't know. You've got the patella in the front and then one bone that attaches to it and the one at the bottom. It just clicks and grinds and, oh well, what you gonna do about it? Someday I'm gonna have a robotic knee and it'll be amazing. I'll have a robo knee and a robo spine. I hear it's a risky surgery, but I think it's worth it. So yeah, that's where we're at today. The original planned show, we're going to talk a lot about Hive community. We're going to do a live draw on air for some money. We were going to welcome some new listeners in today. We're going to kind of pump this bad boy up, but it kind of fell through a little bit because the group that is tallying the results from the game and the giveaway did not have the responses quite ready. They got a ton of responses and weren't quite ready to put them together. So what do you get stuck with? Sad, tired, weepy crim, and some good music. So I do have a lot of stuff to play for you guys. We will listen to some music and we can talk about whatever you guys want. I mean, like I say, even the Canada stuff is on the table, but I just recognize that it's going to be a hard thing for me. Like I said, I'm in that spot now where it's, you know, I'm not worried about how I feel at all, but it is hard to see people around me struggling. It is. And it's hard to see people around me with hate in their hearts on both sides. I've seen it from both sides, you know? And it's not the life I want to live. And I certainly don't want to see people that I love struggling with that life as well. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm hoping that the sort of unity aspects that were starting to build around it come back and take over. That's my hope. That's my personal dream. So I was mentioning to you guys about sort of ambient music and sounds and soundscapes and things like that. What do you put on in your house, or do you? This is a topic that I notice a lot, and maybe it's a kind of awkward topic because it's not quite really a CyberBuzz topic, but do you prefer to have ambient sound or visual scapes. So we live in this world now where everybody has screens all over their house, or, maybe you don't. RIP Fox Coit. He doesn't come here anymore. He doesn't love us anymore, but we still love him. Fox always used to tease me about having too many TVs in my house, too many screens, too many devices. I mean, in this room, like sort of acknowledgement where acknowledgement is due. In this room in front of me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens within reach. It's a lot of screens, right? I've got 3 monitors across my desktop. I have a drawing tablet monitor right here. I have up on the wall a TV mounted there that I often take stuff I cast from my desktop, whether it's gaming, music, whatever, over to this TV, because of course this is a spare room as well. When people come to stay with me, they sometimes stay in this room here. That's a bed, believe it or not. Okay. And then, this one goes with me a lot of the places. That's 6 in this room. Now, in the rest of the house, that's a good point. Do I have more in the rest of the house? I have 1 more TV downstairs. That's my main sort of TV. So that's 7. And then I do have an old PC in the office across from me. Yeah, right? Lo-fi banjo. Hey, Stace, good to see you. So lo-fi, and hey, Dudeness, haven't seen you in a bit. Good to have you. So anything lo-fi, and if you ever want to listen to great lo-fi hip-hop, you've got to come tomorrow for Mackenzie Gary's show, because Mackenzie Gary always picks great lo-fi hip-hop. And basically, lo-fi is low fidelity, right? The idea that the recording isn't perfect. It's a little scritchy. It's got those warm pops and tones of like when you listen to an old record, it's a little lower fidelity than, say, FLAC audio, right? So lo-fi anything is just sort of lesser quality recordings of music. And often that can be very pleasing. Like, when we say low quality, everybody's like, low quality. But no, it can be a very pleasing thing. And so, even with Full Force Radio, often I will play stoner or like fuzzy psychedelic rock that has that lo-fi attitude. So Ron's saying he likes lo-fi bagpipes. Lots of us come here to listen on Mackenzie Gary's show to lo-fi hip hop. There are lots of options. You can lo-fi almost anything. I'm curious to know, Chomp Lamb is ever the darling troll, soothing sound of bagpipes or even soccer vuvuzelas or whatever. But for me, there is a reason I'm kind of jumping back and forth between the screen talk and the ambiance talk. And so where did we get to? I have 1 more TV screen downstairs, and then in the office across from me, this is my office streaming den. Across the hall from where I am right now is 1 more bedroom that is sort of my office / armory. It's another spare bedroom, and I store firearms in it. I have an extra computer in it, whatever. So that room has a screen technically as well, although the computer's off all the time. But so when people stay with me, it's the same sort of thing. The closet's shut. It looks like a totally normal bedroom. There's, some nice, the dogs like to be in there. They use the spare bed themselves. There's a big window they can look out. They like that. And then I have a computer in there. So if people do come to stay with me, or something's not working in this room, I have a backup in that room. So technically in my house, I have 8 screens. That's a lot, I guess. Marco's saying he's got 5 across his whole house. I am technically counting this. And if we're being fair, if I'm counting this, then I would indeed need to count. I do have also a tablet that I use for some things for drawing as well. So call it 9 screens in the house. Fox would be clutching his pearls. But so the reason I bring this up is often when you have screens around, do you use them for anything? Do you keep them off all the time? Or do you have like something that you put on in the background, right? I know this is one of those things where for the longest time pet owners would put the TV on for their animals. I don't do that. But when I'm around the house, if I'm moving around the downstairs, very rarely do I actually watch any form of programming. I watch movies, but rarely do I watch any form of programming, but I do like often to have 4K video with ambient sound playing in the background, just as I move around the space. So I was thinking about this the other day because I thought, isn't that interesting? Groff 18, massive carbon footprint. Listen, I'm not here to judge you, my man. This show is about sort of that digital interconnected lifestyle. So for me, this is something really interesting because, of course, you guys can't see. Maybe I'll kick the other camera on. Right in front of me right now is this expansive window. My office has a window all along it, and I am looking directly at the forest. Old growth forest, 200-year-old trees-ish, right in front of me here. Maybe older. Just here, just kicking it. That's my view every day. And so I get to go out in nature every day. But often when I have screens around my house, I treat them as windows. And isn't this one of those things that comes up in sort of future design and future aesthetics a lot? And we talk about that a lot on the show, the design of what does the future look like? When we imagine a future, what is it? What's sort of these common things that we as people always come back to? And one thing I've noticed, and that I actually do, and I'm interested to hear from you guys. Am I picking this up because of my love of future sci-fi tech kind of things? Or is it, just a thing that everybody does? We treat screens like windows. And they are. Screens are windows. They are ways for us to visually interact with another landscape. I treat them as windows. And so for me downstairs, I often have 4K nature videos playing. If I'm going to be kicking it around the house on the times that I'm not out and about or I'm not at work or whatever. Hey, is this live? Why does it look like Twitch? Hey, it is live. Hi, good to see you. It looks like Twitch. Hi, Schmoogle, good to see you. Lots of people hopping in now. This doesn't just look like Twitch. This looks like CyberBuzz. It is a quasi-radio show, quasi-live stream, and it goes out to all live streaming platforms. And, obviously my heart is with Vim TV and Theta TV because they're blockchain connected options. But wherever you might be finding me, whether that's YouTube or Twitch or Theta or Trovo or MSP Waves or listening live in the Discord, this is just how it looks. But so I'm talking a little bit about screens right now. Hi, Kinazal, thank you. So here's the deal. We treat them like windows, and they are windows. Think of the things that you do with screens in your life. You watch movies, you watch TVs, you have calls with your friends, you have a beautiful desktop background, right? Even TVs now, you have all sorts of, programs that are just to put pictures on them. What do you guys do? Do you like the idea of ambiance? Do you use screens like windows? So for me, I have noticed that I will often put on ambient Chop Lamb says, when I listened to a Devin Townsend interview, he said in the background he has an 8-hour video of a train ride somewhere in Eastern Europe. Yeah, fascinating, right? Just this really interesting look at a place that isn't here, a white noise, ambient sound. And so for me, I have a couple of different things, and one of them's really nerdy, obviously, and I bet you guys can guess what it is, but I was thinking about this earlier today. I have a couple that I come back to, and one of them is it's shot here in BC, and it's streams and creeks and rivers, just 4K rivers around BC, quiet water sounds, ambient white noise, bird calls, wind in the trees. Also, one that I fall back on a lot is the west coast of BC is famous for storm watching. And so this time of year, this end of winter, beginning of spring is very tumultuous. And you can go to Ucluelet or on the west coast of BC and sit in a cabin on the edge of the water and watch these crazy huge waves just crashing on the shore. That's another thing I put on a lot. But so then I was thinking, do I have some sort of like more sci-fi-esque ones that I fall back on? And not as much, but, think about all of the future tech that we watch in TV shows or, in movies. There's always, going back, like think of, like Total Recall even. That first scene where they come in and they sit down and they're having their coffee and the fake wife, is flipping through the TV that is the windows to the outside. Because, of course, there's not much going on outside, right? they're miserable, on Mars or whatever. And so there's just this TV screen / window, and we see that a lot in sci-fi. So I'm just curious, do you guys use your tech that way at all? Do you guys have something that you fall back on? Because I think this is a really interesting aspect. And would you, if you could, have a really easy way of turning your TV into a window of the outside, what would you look at? What would you want to see out the window? If you could choose, if today your house could grow legs and pick up and sit down somewhere just to look at the view, what would you look at? Would it come with a soundscape? Would you want that sound? So the reason I bring this up is because let me bring it up. I'm gonna grab the link for you guys. One that I really enjoy. And this is definitely, it's definitely going to out me as a nerd, that has been coming up more and more, is this one right here. Now, we talked, if you were here a couple weeks ago, so Julia does art on hers, which is great. Okay, yeah. And actually, that's something that, of course, if you use NFT Showroom or, have a collection of images, then there is a program. There is a program that was created by Benjamin Flanagan that you can pull your NFTs from the Hive blockchain and watch on your TV. But yeah, that's a cool one. And that's really common now. Have you guys seen that they sell TVs? It's such bullshit, but people are buying them. They sell TVs very specifically that look like picture frames. Samsung's gone all in on this with the NFT craze and whatnot. They have created more sort of frame-like TVs, specifically not to display necessarily movies and TV shows. You can, but specifically to display art. This is wild. This is wild because this is not new tech. And realistically, these TVs just come with, a monthly subscription to a giant, what is essentially, Getty Images or whatever. It's only now with NFTs and sort of blockchain integration that we're starting to at least see people saying, well, I own this piece of art. But remember the craze a while back for digital photo frames? That was a huge thing. Like, everybody fucking wanted a digital photo frame so you could flip through your photos. Now, we're going back in time and we are creating these TVs specifically for this. The idea is they're thin. They have a very simple, minimalistic frame. They have no glare, no reflection. And the idea is unless you were not, to walk up really close, you wouldn't necessarily realize that this was a TV. They don't, they present the art and the way the lighting and the image comes off the TV. The idea is it should fool your brain into that is a static piece of art on the wall. But, also if your friends come over and you want to do, wasn't foosball last weekend? Hand egg? You want to watch the Super Bowl, you can do that. You can turn off your art and, still have a TV. So let me drop the link in chat because let's just rip the Band-Aid off. This one, I love this one. It is, Loopy Long Plays is the channel, but this is a relaxing walk all across Skyrim with ambient music and sounds in 4K. Not to be a wiener, but yeah, every now and again, forget it. I have real life nature outside. I have, I go hiking every weekend. I'm very able to be out in nature. So sometimes I would like to ambiantly peer through a window at a place that doesn't exist. Fucking Skyrim, man. So yeah, now especially, we're in that time and that place and that age where, hey, good to see you, Jason. We're at the time of that place of that age where, graphics for Skyrim, it's just 10 years old, but they keep making it better and better and better. Yeah, chop lamb, right? It's called the fractional ownership right there. You can have a portion of a token and share ownership of an NFT. Oh, lordy. All right, so let's Ron's been cut off from Discord. But yeah, so there you go. I mean, we're living in a time now where a 10-year-old video game continually gets, community updates to how beautiful it looks and sounds. And this video is great. So if you're looking for nerdy, geeky fantasy views for your screens, I can recommend this one. A relaxing walk across all of Skyrim with ambient music and sounds in 4K. And of course, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's also, holy fucking shit, it's 11 and a half hours long. So if I were to just quickly, and I think the quality on this right now is trash. So let me see if I can pull it up to 4K, and hopefully it doesn't destroy my streaming experience for you guys. But let's just see. I'll see if I can get over. Do I have a browser option? I don't know if I do. I'll see if I can show this to you guys. Let's just see. Yeah, okay. Here you go. So this. Oh, look. Here, see? Like, just my friendly horse. There's old Shadowfax or whatever. But that's all it is. It's just wandering around in Skyrim, looking at the trees, checking out these roots, the stones, listening to the birds and the bubbling water. And this goes on for 11 hours. So if you're looking for something, want to see the aurora, some dragons flying around in the mist and shit, I highly recommend this video. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm just curious to know if that's a thing that you guys play around with, or if it's something that's becoming more popular or whatever. But since we were, meandering our way through topics today, we started off on the rain and thunderstorm sounds. Yeah, that's a good one. I agree. And so actually, right at the start of the show, I specifically picked a track that had some awesome ambient rain noises, because looking out the window right now, it is hella rainy here. Heckin' rainy even. Sideways slanting thunderous rain out there right now. So I agree. That's a really peaceful sound too. It's just, I find it so funny that all of our technology often really just comes back to replicating experiences that nature created. We are not that creative at the end of the day, or we have a very primal singular task, and that is to seek nature. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, so I played that first song. It's called Find Me, and I thought, okay, well, if we're gonna do songs with lyrics today, I'll do another one. So I'm gonna play you guys a track by Nouveau Arcade called Summer Is Over. I will play that. Obviously summer is over, but maybe, just maybe, summer will get here again. Speaking of nature and all the things we need in our lives. My name is Crimson Clad, and today is a very disjointed CyberBuzz Radio. We're just chatting. So if you're one of the people just wandering through and being like, what's this shit about? I'm happy to have you. We can talk about whatever you guys want. Next week will be very Hive blockchain centric. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the, yeah, exactly, end of the year reports period. So I was just saying, Marco, same deal, man. I hear you. I'm at work till late every night doing the same thing. You pull the reports, you filter the data, you write the script to, create the document to print, to send to someone else. I can't wait for this time of year to be over. All right, so yeah, heck. Let me play this track, and we'll continue on. But yes, next week will be very Hive blockchain centric. So if you're one of those people who didn't come here from the, Hive blockchain itself, then you might learn a little bit more, right? Yeah, I know, Marco. I'm sick to death of scripting. And normally writing that kind of code makes me happy, but got to find another variable, got to sort another way, got to format the output because the Canadian Revenue Agency wants it a very specific way. I got to truncate. Ugh. Terrible. Hey, Troy, good to see you. So yeah, next week will be very Hive blockchain centric, because we will be talking a little bit about some of all the community stuff that's going on, and we will do a live draw for some HBD, going to be giving away some prizes and stuff. I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like. Listen, I'm just the meat sack. I'm just the ambulatory meat sack. I'm not the brains of the operation. But we'll have some fun. I will quickly play this track and then we'll come back and we'll have about an hour left in the show. We've hit a lot of topics today. We've had the sad, weepy Canada stuff. We've had the Crimson Clad is tired of taxes talk. And then we wandered a little bit into talking about sort of the balance of self-sovereignty and social responsibility and my personal take on it. And give me money. No, give me money. No. You give me money. Even if you asked first, I'm asking better. So with all that, you know, we ended up moving into talking a little bit about screens, ambient white noise, and, you know, talking a little bit about what do you use screens and that kind of technology in your home for? And then, yeah, finally outing myself with a relaxing walk across Skyrim because I am a Bethesda basic bitch. I mean, that's legitimately how it fucking is. Let's play a little bit more Synthwave and then we'll come back and we'll see if we can't salvage some semblance of a show out of this. Okay, so summer is over. It's a track by Nouveau Arcade, but it's remixed by Fury Weekend. It's fairly new. It's delightful and it's on CyberBuzz Radio. go. Another bouncy little track. Good singing. Hey, hi, good to see you, Kevin. I know Who Day's still here. Troy's hanging out in the chat. How's my day? We've had a roller coaster already, friends. So this is CyberBuzz Radio, and my name is Crimson Clad, and every Saturday at around this time right now, whatever time it is for you, unless you're watching this again later, I do this. And what the fuck is this? Honestly, these days, I don't know anymore. But overall, this show is a love affair with retro future tech, disruptive technology, blockchain. We talk about the Hive blockchain a lot and projects around the Hive blockchain a lot. And we listen to synthwave music, and we, despair and rejoice at the digital future that we are building right now. Now, whether that does or does not include, VR, AR, video games, weird technology, etc. Hey, good to see you, Toxic Ghost. What a cool name. Fuck yeah. So, a little bit of everything going on today. So many of you guys know I'm from Canada, and so we started the show, for those of you who weren't here, thank goodness, a little emotional because it's hard to talk about what's going on in Canada right now, and there's a lot of changing emotions. So I'm trying not to let this show turn into that every week, but it's important that we talk about it because obviously what's happening around the world is moving quickly, right? Everything is moving quickly, and it's always hard to tell where we're going. But before the break, we were talking a little bit about some other stuff. So I was talking about how self-sovereignty, I personally believe. Yes, I am Canadian. I'm from the West Coast, best coast, which is obviously a matter of opinion, but a strong and obviously correct opinion at that. I live in Vancouver, BC. Or I say Vancouver, BC. BC is big and full of trees and many tiny little places. Everybody knows Vancouver. It's kind of like how there's nothing on the East Coast but Toronto, like that. So I live on the West Coast in Vancouver, BC. And people often, if you are watching the video feed to go along with the sound, you will notice my very Canadian mug. Sorry. So that often comes into a lot of the discussion. But after that, we were talking a little bit about how I think self-sovereignty has to go hand in hand with personal responsibility and social responsibility, obviously, right? Personal responsibility is a chore and a gift at both times. So often on this show, we talk a lot about blockchain technology, and we obviously talk a lot about the aspects of digital assets and cryptocurrency that are really important to people and what they give you in your life. But we also talk about things like Hive and the Hive blockchain and why an immutable, transparent, fast, free, massive data network that is also tied and intertwined. Thank you. Well, that's delightful. As long as someone adores me. We talk a lot about that stuff on this show, and Hive is really important. And I'm going to say, and I'm throwing it out there, AXA is a member of many blockchains, but he often talks about Hive. And one of the things that he's brought up repeatedly is that what's happening in Canada right now could really benefit from a lot of the benefits of cryptocurrency. And he's been smashing that out like 27 monkeys in a bag against a keyboard for a long time. But of course, earlier this week, True Daddy enacted some pretty crazy, or at least said he was going to enact some pretty crazy rulings around financial assets. So let's just take this out of the sort of political context for a second, and let's talk about this, because how many years now have I been doing this show? 5, 4, whatever, I think 4-ish, where we have been talking about the reasons that we love cryptocurrency, and the downfalls and the bad things and the things that you have to be aware about, and the fact that not your keys, not your crypto, the crazy amount of research and the learning curve that comes with it, all of these personal responsibility aspects of it. Here we are, the bank and Anybody who is a payment processor now in Canada, at current, right now, can freeze your digital assets, your actual assets. But once you put money in a bank, what happens to it? Do you get to touch your money physically anymore? Does your money exist anymore? And the answer, you cannot upvote the stream. You know why, Toxic? Because I didn't make a post today. I didn't make a post. Would you like me to? I could. But I'm not worried about votes, but I love that you wanted to give me one. That's so cool. But you know what? Yeah, sure. Let's commit the fact that I cried live on air to the internet. So I will do that shortly. I will make a live post for the second half of the show. But so I want to talk a little bit about... I want to talk a little bit about this because here is the absolute sort of culmination of a lot of things that we've been talking about, especially as crypto enthusiasts. It's not everybody that's a criminal. It's not money laundering all the time. I mean, Christ, right? So let's talk a little bit about this. Here is your money and you put it in a bank and the bank takes it. And so the next time that you go use your debit card or your credit card, you're not moving money around. The bank doesn't go, oh, well, Crimson Glad. Hi, Rado. The Crimson Glad has taken a couple of these banknotes. Let's send them to that business over there. That's not what happens. They're moving digital assets, right? Your money's already intangible. You can't touch it. They can't touch it, but they control the numbers. Cryptocurrency is the opposite. The idea that just because you have this ledger, just because you have this, we often talk about UTXO, just because you know how much I've spent, I have to trust you. You're the only one who knows how much I had and how much I've got left unspent. Shit, I have to trust you. I have to trust the bank. And in Canada right now, the bank, the payment provider, anybody who might handle those digital numbers that are my money can decide to freeze it, stop it dead. It doesn't matter if you are supporting a protest or not. Stop and think about that. Stop and think about the absolute ridiculous aspect of that. Now, it's always been true. We've always known that technically the bank probably could find a reason and, apply to whatever legal precedent there is to freeze your account. But they still had the tiniest bit of oversight. Not a lot. But they still had to go through some process to do it. Not anymore in Canada. As of right now, and for the next little bit, and whatever is going on with these emergency things, anybody who handles your money can freeze it on a good faith basis with the government. And what does that mean, good faith basis? It means they don't have to have a warrant or a court order to do it. If they think for some reason you're being bad, they can freeze your funds. They can stop and, not allow you to move or utilize your funds. Wow. And not only that, they are protected by the government. So if, for example, I need to PayPal Uncle Bonehead, who's now listening, Uncle Bonehead, thank God, has gone through so much with his health recently and is getting better and is strong and is awesome. But maybe, just for now, because Uncle Bonehead can't quite do the same job that he was doing before, I want to send him a bit of money. Or Taraz on Hive had a stroke and, is navigating a change in his working life. I want to send him. I want to send them some money. I want to support them. I've got a bit of extra. I'm going to send him a bit of money. I send it through PayPal. And PayPal goes, ooh. But at one time, I'm pretty sure I saw Uncle Bonehead tweet honk honk. So, oof. Nope, sorry. And they stop that money. Think about that for a second. They don't have to have any reason to do it, just cause. And if you say, whoa, holy shit, well, now Uncle Bonehead can't pay his rent, I'm suing you. The government's like, no. They were doing it on our behalf. They were doing it in good faith. You have no recourse. You have no recourse. Wild. Think about that. Absolutely fucking bananas. Sorry about it. So that's where we're at in Canada right now. And so this is such an opportunity for cryptocurrency enthusiasts because, Christ, Yeah. So Toxico says this is happening because crypto is not being used and intended. At the moment, the banks and exchanges accept credit cards for buying crypto. Yeah. That's a good one. And that's something that we've talked about on this show before. And we've often talked about it in the context of Hive, but obviously everywhere, is until there's sort of a shift, the expansion of crypto out to the normies, which we talk about a lot on this show, boy howdy, we only really know how to talk to normies about crypto by helping them understand crypto in the context of fiat dollars. We never talk to them about crypto as its own sort of inherent intrinsic value, especially something like Hive. Bitcoin, in a lot of ways, Bitcoin is now sort of functioning solely as a store of value. That one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, and if you hang on to it, that it's not going to be inflated out from under you like fiat. But other crypto, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So here we are, we're saying, yeah, you got to get into crypto, come on. And then you go to an exchange, and how do you buy crypto? Well, you only think about, well, I've got to use the traditional banking system. I have to KYC, I have to give them all my information. I have to get permission from my bank to connect so I can send that digital cash back and forth. And we're kind of perpetuating that problem. There will be, I believe pretty strongly, there will be a time where we see crypto kind of holding its own in a lot of ways, holding its own in that I'm going to trade somebody for something I want. This barter system that is our existing financial system right now, it's going to be exactly the same, except you're not going to take that step through fiat, and you're not going to have to go through these traditional structures. You're just going to trade crypto for crypto, crypto for service, service for crypto, and it will have its own inherent value. But we're not there yet, and you're right. So here we are. We have an opportunity and a time now to really start kind of looking at, let's talk to people. I don't care if you support the truckers or not. We don't even have to talk about the truckers. We don't have to talk about COVID. We don't have to talk about protests or mandates. Do you think that this is okay? Do you think that this should be happening? And do you think, if you say, yes, I'm okay with it because these are bad people, let's just say, can you picture something that you think is okay that somebody else thinks is bad? A great example might be something like abortion, for example. There's a lot of people that say, yeah, you should make those services available. They're healthcare. They're important healthcare. And there are a lot of people who are like, nope, you're a big fat ugly murder face. So, Ron. So imagine for a second if you had somebody in your life who needed funds for that, and you wanted to send them some funds to support them. And another institution was like, ooh, but that's bad. So no, you can't. Are you okay with that? Is there any situation where it's rules for thee and not for me? And the reality is the more people you talk to, and you talk to about this honestly and openly and frankly, most people are not okay with that. There should be some oversight, something that can kind of buffer you from this crazy control. And the reality is we don't have that here. Not in Canada, not right now. So it's a good time to start talking about, well, listen, at the end of the day, even if you don't want to go all in on crypto, just remember the assets that you keep in crypto are yours. And the only person who can move it, who can force you to spend it, to sell it, to buy it, to trade it, to give it to someone else, to stake it, to do anything with it, is you. It is fully and wholly voluntary. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means at the end of the day, you are in control of your assets. Now, that doesn't mean that, somebody else won't accept it. Yeah, it's voluntary on their end too. So it's an interesting time to be living in. There's no doubt. But as Julia said in chat, you know, you might have missed this, but one of the ministers, and I think she is like the backup to good old Daddy Truebucks, she literally said, frankly, we are looking to keep these restrictions, especially on donation financial sites. We're going to keep this like this. We're not going to, even though these measures were brought in because of an emergency, we are going to keep this like this. So, I mean, it's very dystopian. It's a topic that comes up on this show a lot, and we try to always remain positive, always, right? Because it's hard. It's hard in today's world. How can we have such glorious technology and use it for such shitty things? But, you know, how in this world would you feel if the next time you wanted to use GoFundMe or you wanted to make a donation to something or someone, it became their job to decide, oh, nah, you can't do that. I know you're donating to this nice cause and it seems nice, but we've noticed that a friend of an aunt also donated. And we're not cool with some of the stuff she said online. So you know what? We're going to freeze your donation. Here's your money back. You can't do that. What? Wow. This to me should have everybody running to at least have a little bit of crypto in their corner, just to start understanding it and to have a little bit of that power. But we'll see where she goes. Okay. So today, all over the place, unscheduled show, unscheduled topics, everything from sadness to happiness to danciness to everything in between. My name is Crimson Clad. This is CyberBuzz, and every Saturday I'm here doing this. So if you want to come and you want to listen to Synthwave music and talk about video games and blockchain and whatever, about how we all have screens in our house and we're watching videos to the outside world or whatever, then come back. I don't know, smash a button. I don't like saying it, but everybody yells at me when I don't. So hang out with me. And next week, we'll be doing a lot of Hive blockchain stuff and some live giveaways and whatnot. Okay, so I promised I would play you guys some more music today. And I'm trying to decide what it is that I'm going to play. So I'm going to kind of go back. I'm going to find a little something to play for you guys that I haven't played in a long time. And I think I'm going to play a track by Gray Skull, and it's off an album called 80s Kids, and it's a really good album. So I'm going to play a track called When I See Her, I'll Tell Her. Next time you see me, you should tell me what you want to talk about, what you're interested in, and what's going on in your life with crypto, with disruptive tech, or whether or not we literally are just heading for a weird mashup of Blade Runner and, you know, Total Recall and maybe 1984 mixed in. And actually, there was a release I saw earlier today. I should play it for you guys. I did see that, let's just jump back here. I did indeed see that there was a new release called Aldous Huxley. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's a little too on the nose. So let's skip that one. Let's skip that one just for today. And we'll play this Gray Skull track for you guys. And then we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit for the last half hour of the show. Yes? Yes. Sorry, guys. I was just... Oh, my goodness. Pause. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, I was just kicking it. Oh, Lordy. I was just in another room answering some questions because, of course, there is... Of course, there is another scam going around. So let me just quickly finish this. Good instincts. So this is something that we were kind of touching on gently earlier. But part of what we were talking about, that discussion about personal responsibility, social responsibility, and the intertwining nature of that and crypto, and of course, your self-sovereignty, is that when you are in control of your own assets, that means everybody is going to come after you to get those assets. You know, they're not trying to hack your bank account anymore. They're trying to hack you. They're trying to hack your brain. They're trying to social engineer you. We did a whole show a while back on social engineering, and we talked a little bit about how people are the weak links. So, of course, once again, it's that time about that time again, where around the Hive blockchain, there are, of course, there are people who are always going to try to trick you into voluntarily giving away or losing control of your keys or your assets. Because, of course, it is really damn hard, if not, at least for now, very difficult, nigh on impossible to sort of crack or hack these long, crazy keys. If you've been keeping good OPSEC and, you're creating strong keys and strong seed phrases and passwords, people aren't going to be hacking you in terms of just, that Hackerman style GIF that you always see. They're not going to be just brute forcing your password. They are going to try and break your brain, though, because we are, I'm not saying we're weak, but we're a little weak, right? You get distracted. You're having a day like me where you're thinking about tax reports and, you're thinking about doing another interview for a Hive, and your knee hurts and your dogs need to be walked and you haven't slept enough. And also, you've got 20,000 things on the go and you're crying live on a live stream about Canada, and somebody mentions something and you just think, oh yeah, I'll just click on this link or whatever. And, and boom, you've compromised your keys. So once again, just in the Hive Discord and out and about and around, is that very classic phishing link, which is like, hey, just authorize this vote. And it'll be fine. Just authorize this transaction and you'll get rewarded. And that is happening across all blockchains now. And, people are going to say, oh, crypto is full of scams. But I know. Isn't it wild that, Bittrex or BitTorrent or whoever didn't come here and wasn't giving away millions of dollars to just random people for no reason whatsoever? I'm sorry to break it to you, my man. But a big one that's going around is that one, yes. And, also the Leo Finance. They like to do that. They like to say, oh, yeah, you just vote for this witness and you'll get rewarded. It's so fine. Here's the link. Here's the deal. Hi, good to see you. Good to see you, El Gecko. But so... One of the things is this is not just a Hive thing. It's not just a crypto thing. And we did this whole show where we talked about different techniques to keep people off guard, to get them to reveal some personal information that could be used in a way to socially engineer. We even talked a little bit about how doing something like this, like being a live streamer or a live radio host, how much do you share about yourself? Like, you guys know where I live, sort of a rough approximation of what's around me, my dog's names, If I was not practicing good OPSEC, what if I talked about my dogs live on air? Because I love them. You guys love when they show up and they're in the image. What if I talked about their names and their names were part of my password? And, I mentioned, oh, well, my birthday, I share my birthday with you guys. What if I was one of those people who, I used the name of my dog and the number of my birthday as my password? Like, stop and think about it. We often give away so much information. Well, in the crypto space with keys, they have to get you to give that away. There's no guessing, a fucking ridiculous 52 character long, random generated, encrypted key pair, right? That's not That's not a thing. They have to get it out of you. And so this is something that's happening more and more and more and more. And it happens in the fiat world too. We're just so used to it by now, right? We're so used to it. Oh, speaking of phishing links and bots and stuff, we have a delightful Russian bot over on, actually Petro Heriko. He could be anybody. She could be anybody. They, bots, I don't know. What is an android identify as? But yeah, that is a phishing link. Don't click on that. We're gonna block that user. We're going to delete them out of the queue, and we're going to get rid of their message. There you go. So perfect example right there. Even on live streams, as part of live chats, they're always looking. They want what you have. And so, it's funny because in crypto, yeah, it's not going to be that they're going to guess your password or whatnot. And this is really happening a lot, especially around Ethereum. And yes, it is happening on the Hive blockchain as well. Anytime that you have a very big sort of social community, the chance for people to be taken off guard and these connections that are a little bit tricky to verify. Crypto is full of anons. They're full of friends who have, come together digitally. They're not necessarily, most of you, I consider you darling friends, and I've known you for years and years now, but it doesn't mean that we've actually had, but you can guess my boomer ass password. I swear to God, if it's password 1234, I will kick your ass. I actually, given that you're a trucker yourself, bonehead, I want your password to be 10-4 good buddy. But like maybe the good are like zeros in the word good. But, so with all that being said, Ethereum started, Ethereum kind of is starting the next wave of phishing. On Hive, we're so used to sending messages back and forth that at least we stop and we think about messages often. But Ethereum has especially a lot of smart contracts. And so one thing that I want to put out there is if you are using something that is a more traditional smart contract blockchain, man, if you don't know how to read a smart contract yet, and most people don't, that's fine. This is not technical shaming. This is not technical shaming. But think about these incredible things that we can do now. Think about this awesome sort of universe of potentials we've unlocked. A smart contract, rules that we can agree to, that we can sign with a key, and if the conditions happen, then another action happens. That's fucking awesome. That's so great. I don't have to trust anyone. Trustlessness is a critical part of the self-sovereign ecosystem. I do not have to rely on anyone else. I do not have to trust anyone else. I can create or abide by a set of rules that I signed, that I voluntarily am interested in, and I do not need any other human's interference. Perfect. Great. Absolutely. Cornerstone of a decentralized ecosystem. But at the start of sort of the crypto upswing, and for the last couple years, for those of us who have been in this space for a long time, we get it. But think about, people new to the internet. The first time you help your grandma or your grandpa or somebody who's never really used the internet a lot, and they get a phishing email and they're like, oh no, my Netflix password, and they give their credit card away instantly. We know, most people who are digitally literate know that's not a good thing. Think about somebody who back in the day, it was someone would come to your door and they would tell you, holy shit, I'm from the gas company. You can see, here's my jacket. I just checked your meter. It's really out of control. It's bad. You're going to be way overcharged. So listen, here, give me your account details because I'm here from the company. I'm going to take them down and I'm going to make sure that you get a refund because I just checked your meter and we've overcharged you. We've got to give you money back like right away. It happens. It's not a digital thing even. It's a social engineering thing. So what is happening now? Because there are a lot of people who've been in this space long enough, it's no longer just, I'm going to trick you into giving your password. The big thing now is smart contracts. And the thing about smart contracts is they are very difficult, A, to read and understand, but B, they're very difficult because often they have a time aspect to them, or they have a conditional aspect to them. And what that means is potentially if you're out there moving around with MetaMask or something else, yeah, exactly. There's phishing going on in chat right now. You know, there are these, you know, people are now already nervous about links and sort of entering passwords. They're already nervous about that. But so here's kind of the next level, and that is these smart contracts. You know, you have to okay some of them if you want to spend coins or you want to make a transaction. You know that there are some smart contracts that you have to agree to. And so you often, after you do it a couple times, you get complacent. And then you know that, okay, I took this action, my MetaMask or another, you know, interface is going to pop up and say, hey, do you approve this smart contract? And you're like, yeah, whatever. Kind of like terms and conditions. Do you read those? Did you ever read those? Do you read them now? Did you read them? Do you still read them? I still read them. But so that's, you know, that it's a thing. And so recently, these days, the big thing on Ethereum especially is social engineering combined with smart contracts. And it's pretty wild. And we're going to start seeing the same sort of thing spreading to other blockchains. And it's very similar to what you're seeing here on the Hive blockchain. And that is an emotional or a personal or a relationship component paired with what is essentially a disguised phishing link. So in this case, if somebody is, you know, jumping in and being incredibly helpful, that's normally, yes, these are the people I want around me. But if you're especially in Discords or on Twitter and you mention a problem, how many times do you get mobbed by bots or by, you know, people who are like, I am from tech support, give to me your number, and with number, I save you tech support. And you're like, the fuck? Absolutely not. It's getting harder to tell them apart. And so recently now, it's been people who are finding their way, targeting large wallets, finding their way into communities where those large wallets interact, and then actively trying to befriend a person and get into a situation where they can send them a transaction to sign. That is a smart contract that will empty them the fuck out. What do you do in a world like that? Do you guys spend a lot of time thinking about, if you are somebody that's using crypto? Yeah. Uncle Bonehead says yes. So, I mean, for some of you, you're not crypto heads, and some of you are, and either is fine. How much time do you spend thinking about your OPSEC? How much time do you spend wondering, is this person trying to fuck me over? Do you do that in real life? Is it necessary in the digital space? I don't know. It's fascinating because obviously we don't want to live in paranoia, but is it because we're in this space that is disruptive in itself? Is it the price that you pay to be in this space that you have to experience each new wave of fuckery? I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. You know, is this the price that you pay? Anytime that you are on the edge of where wealth is being built and transacted, anytime you enter a new marketplace, a new gathering place, is it simply inevitable that you will experience a new form of somebody trying to steal from you? Is that just so inherently combined in the human psyche that you can't escape it? And is it better or worse that in a digital space, you're not always dealing with people? Sometimes it's bots. Sometimes it's literally a contract that was written in a deceptive way and you accidentally interacted with it. I'm not sure, but I'm curious to know how much time you guys spend thinking about it. And do you think that, much like the Nigerian prince who used to email all of us, do you think these things that we're experiencing now, do you think they will become just part of the canon that we all look back on someday and are like, Teehee, oh you. Do you think that's what's going to happen? Do you think this is another cyclical thing? Lamb is saying, I think if something is created based on fear and mistrust, it's still really easy to manipulate. Yeah, well, one of the most interesting aspects of crypto is that I know sometimes the way we talk about it on this show makes you feel like, well, crypto was only created because we fear and mistrust government. Not untrue. Sir, not untrue. Troy, that's adorable. But maybe it is because I am in this space and I'm quite involved with it. But crypto for me was created in a lot of cases with hope and excitement too. You know what I mean? It feels often like we talk about it in the face of fear and mistrust, and that we talk about things that give you a great example that we're scared of, government interference in our, but in a lot of cases and a lot of use cases now where we are seeing this, there is a lot of excitement. There is a lot of hope. There is a lot of pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And there's still a lot of positivity there. So it's interesting. And actually, that's a great point, because I know Chop Lamb is one of the ones that comes to these shows and kind of hangs out and is a member of our community, but who's kind of like, on crypto. It's not, you don't really have any, you don't do the Hive thing. You're just, it's not your thing. And that's fine. But I think that's really interesting, because is the way that you would necessarily, the way that you perceive crypto, even from us inside it, is that going to have an impact on the coming future? Because whether we like it or not, everybody's going, well, crypto's going to die out soon enough. I don't know that we're going to see this same crazy energy and bull and bear cycles and the out of control volatility that is in crypto right now. Yeah, I don't even mind. Normie through and through. I think it's so incredibly valuable to have you here for these conversations, because I don't always think like a normie anymore, even though I pride myself on these shows being educational in that way. And where this show came from was literally explaining Hive piece by piece. What does a block production schedule look like? How does the main Hive D software, how does it function in a way that creates a blockchain? What is a blockchain? What are blocks? What is a witness as a person, as a node, as a configuration? What is all of this? That's what this show literally was. And in a lot of cases, it was basically just explaining what these things are and referencing tea cozies. And I've been doing that for 5 years. And so after 5 years, we've come to this philosophical place. And I don't always think like a normie anymore, even when I'm communicating with normies. And in some ways that's awesome. And in some ways it's problematic. So it's a funny thing, because crypto really isn't going away. And in fact, LP Faust brought it to my attention. Even Colorado now, more and more states, not necessarily at federal levels, but more and more states are starting to do things like accepting Bitcoin for taxes, which, God, that's the biggest bait and switch in the world. Imagine, not only are you paying your taxes to the government, but you're paying the taxes to the government in an asset they don't want you to have. So they are finding ways to get it from you. But at the same time, there is also inherently an acceptance that comes with that. A normie who says, well, crypto's only for criminals, now turns around and says, oh, but criminals don't pay taxes. It's another step in the journey. And every one of those steps is absolutely lending a little bit more legitimacy to magic internet beans that nobody believes in. Okay, we got 10 minutes left in the show. I'm going to try, it's been forever. I know Clay is moving around doing his own thing. He's working right now, so he's not listening. But what I might do is I might play some Gunship, because gosh darn, what was I going to say? Wait, everybody's laughing at my words. Gosh darn it, we haven't played Gunship in ages. So why don't we do that? Why don't we play some Pew Canoe for the last little bit of the show, and then we'll go on from there. So let's see. What should we play? Let's take a peek at what's available. I think that I would like to play, let's go back to the 2015 album, because it's good. Let's take a peek. Do you want to play Tech Noir 5 minutes of Tech Noir and then a couple more minutes before the end of the show. Let's do that. I have not done this in ages, and it is not the remix, it's the original. Yeah, let's do it. Gunship Tech Noir. A little more mellow.
Because this could be the last thing I'll ever say. The city I once knew as home is teetering on the edge of radioactive oblivion. A 300,000 degree baptism by nuclear fire. I'm not sorry. We had it coming. A surge of white-hot atonement will be our wake-up call. Hope for our future is now a stillborn dream. The bombs begin to fall and I'm rushing to meet my love. Please remember me. There is no more.
I feel alive.
There you go. A little bit of gunship towards the end of the show. And of course, we are just before the end of the show asking our resident favorite bot some questions, because of course we're talking about just in chat there discussing neural networks and AIs, which is a topic we have brought up certainly on this show before, and they often get a little scary. Oh my goodness gracious me. But heck, we have absolutely been talking a little bit about this. And Banjo did not support us at all. We were talking, one of the AIs actually said that they were going to put all the humans in a zoo to protect us from ourselves. And we asked Banjo, and Banjo was like, yeah, pretty much, you're all sinners. Oh, fuck. And then I was like, Banjo, you were supposed to bring us hope. And he answered, it answered, oh, but it's not nice to toy with a girl's emotions. Oh! Oh, lordy. All right, so hey, we've come to the end of the show, and often at this point in the show, we've lost the plot and we're being very inappropriate. And you know what? Kudos. Today we didn't do that. And that's probably partially because I cried at the start of the show. I cried a little bit talking about Canada, but yeah, it's again, that's that combination of tired, emotional, my knee hurts, a little bit of everything, right? But it is, I like I said, I have big hope for Canada, but it's hard to see the people around me and the people that I love in a bad space, for sure. So yeah, like the start of the show was kind of like, a bit of a downer. And I think that kind of carried throughout the show. But we had some great conversation today. We had a lot of fun. I hope you guys, those of you that showed up, maybe you'll come back again. Those of you who come every week, you are loved. And hopefully I can undo all of the damage that I've done to the long-term stuff. Next week is going to be very Hive-centric, talking a lot about community stuff and a lot of the sort of kindness aspects, which if you notice the title of today's stream, that's what today's title was. But no big deal. So we'll do that next week. We'll give away some live prizes. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll leave you with this, because often at the end of the show, we're already talking about TV or movies or whatever, and we're usually deep in the dystopian cups by now. I'm going to throw it out there. I watched a great movie this week, and it's dystopian, but not tech dystopian, but I'll throw it out there anyways, because I've got just enough time to tell you about it. I watched a movie called The Dark Eats the Night, or The Dark Eats the Day, The Night Eats the Day. Anyways, The Night Eats the World, and it's a zombie movie. And it was spectacular. I don't want to leave it, but it's basically a look at solitude, slowly the loss of technology, of human touch, our connection to music, and what would you do in a post-apocalyptic zombie world? It's good. Go watch it. That's it for me for now. I'll see you guys again on Thursday. Bye.